So we are creating some data, regions, 1, 2. I'll remove that formula. I'll remove the formula. Don't put this formula. I'm just trying to create some dummy data. That's what I'm trying to do here. At least you know what I'm trying to do since you have learned the lookup. I don't want to start guessing. I'll remove the formula. So just copy these regions. So here, Lucian was asking what's the whole instance of the average if function. So I was actually telling you that the average if is one of the miracle functions in data analysis. So I was giving an example that imagine Mrs. Lower, who actually worked for Boma Limited. Say, for argument's sake, she actually works under payroll. And she wants to do an analysis to understand the root cause of this overtime allowances or costs. One, the root cause of the overtime costs. Secondly, she actually wants to understand how this costs, who is actually generating the most. So like I said, in your analytics, in your analysis, first you need to know who is actually getting the maximum overtime. But first, before you do that, you need to know how much overtime, the highest overtime that was actually incurred in this period under review. Maybe it is a month of June, July, or August. So first thing that you do, you get your maximum, which is equals max. This is a max function. You can open it up since you're still learning. So the range you pick from here up the last part there. There's no need to lock because you're not going to move the formula down. So there's no need to anchor. You can do it, but there's no need, literally. Have you done that? Have you picked the range? Hello, Lushomo, Mrs. Slow. Have you picked the range?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, sir.
So you press enter. You do the same with the minimum. We want to know what was the minimum overtime cost or overtime cost that was incurred in this period under review, whatever period under review. So you do your minimum. You can open the function argument box, or since now you know what it is, you press enter. I don't want to preach to the choir. So you pick that. Mhm. So you know the maximum cost that was incurred. You can then now, if you wanted, you would even want to know who is this person that had the maximum overtime. If you wanted to do that, you can still now use the function. We can use the function, the combination of index and match, and I'll explain it nicely to you here. Mhm. So here then we can use a combination of index and match. So you go into the other cell, which in this case is Q30. You type index. The aim, you want to know who is this employee who got the maximum overtime. You want to profile, you want to do a deep analysis on this employee, and to be interesting what type of analysis that we're going to do. So do your index match, Control A, open the index like this. So an array is a range. Let me know, have you opened the function argument box?
I have.
Mm-hmm. So an array is a range of cells, or it can basically be a constant. But in this case, we're actually looking at a range of cells. So we'll pick this range of cells, which should basically rhyme with the variable in this case is actually the overtime. So meaning that we'll pick this whole range and click like that. So we'll go to the row number, click in the row number. You can lock if you want, don't even lock. There's literally no need. No, maybe let's just, yeah. We can lock, let's lock because we'll have to drag it down. Lushom, are we there?
Yes, sir.
So then under row number, we are actually going to use the match. match function. The match function, what it does, it just gives us the raw number. That's what we want to do. So if, say, for example, I press 1 here, it will actually show that what is in row number 1 is 1,500. You can see there. If I press 4, it will take me to 17, and I'm able to see it here. But that is not what we want to do. So we'll type match so that we match our criteria to the output result or to the output range or result vector. That is what we want to do. So type match, then open bracket. And this is a concept or art or skill that we use when we are trying to nest. So when you open that bracket, just take the cursor to the formula bar. See where this is the formula bar. Take the cursor there. In between the brackets, just take the cursor in there and click. Just click in between those two brackets. Click in between those two brackets. Just click. Hello, are we there? So click in there.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So in this match thing, now you have opened the function argument for a match function. So under match, we have the lookup value. It's the same concept with VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, lookup. So the lookup value would actually be a single cell or just a variable, which can actually be hard-coded. So in this case, we have the lookup value, which is that. We pick that one. In the lookup array, we pick the result vector, which is basically the range which has our possible outcome. And we are going to call it a result vector. So in this case, the result vector that we are looking up is in there. We just click like that. And obviously just lock. Then go to the match type, type 0. Okay, let me just do it fast. First, let me see. Wait. Where's the match? Where's the match index failing? Okay, so let's do this. Sorry, I made a mistake. Type equals index. First, maybe let me say the range in the index formula. Let me just write this. So the range in the index function is your result vector. So meaning that when you use your index function, if the result, what you want to find is a region, meaning that this range becomes your array in the index function, because this is your possible outcome. You want an outcome coming from this range. Then in the match function, the lookup value must match with the lookup array. An array is a range. So like in this case, where we have this as a lookup value, must match with the lookup array. So then now let's do it. Go in there and type equals index, open bracket, Control A, press OK. I know you had already opened the function argument box. You can delete whatever was in there. So in this case, we are actually interested in the result vector. We are interested in knowing the name of that particular person or employee who actually got the maximum overtime in the period under review. So this is our result vector. We'll pick it like this, lock it. So whatever goes into the index function array, under the array, it should actually be the result vector, that array. Then tab, you will then now go to row number. In this row number, this is where you're going to have your match. Then open bracket. Take your cursor to the formula bar and press your cursor in between the brackets, just in there. So what's going to happen is that you're going to activate the match function argument box. So you click in there. So you have activated it. Very good. So the lookup value in this case is your maximum overtime that was generated by a single employee. In this case, it is in P30. You click that lookup value. Like we said, the lookup value is basically a variable. It could be a constant.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Sure.
I'm a
Mrs.
little
Rowe.
behind.
Where?
I did the array and I've locked it. On row number, I typed match.
Yeah, you typed match
Then,
like this, open bracket.
yeah. Just in here, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think that's where I was behind.
Mhm.
All right.
Then now take
okay
your
then.
cursor, at the formula bar. In between those two brackets in the formula bar, just click.
Yes, sir.
So that you're able to open the match
Yes, sir.
function.
I have.
Thank you. Thank you. So then now you go to the lookup value, click in there, you pick the lookup value, which is basically the amount. So you go to the lookup array. So you look up value, and this is just the logic which you have to appreciate throughout your training in Excel modeling, that the lookup value needs to actually mirror the lookup array. In this case, the lookup value is your overtime cost, meaning that the lookup array would be a range of the overtime costs, which will be this particular range. Then you tab again. So the match type, in this case, the match type is 0 because we want an exact match. When the brackets far right, on your far right, you can see that the bracket is still red, meaning that it is not complete until it turns black. So you just enter another bracket there and press OK. So you are able to see the possible output. And this case is showing Lungo. Are we there? Loshomo?
Yes,
This is
I will
slower.
there.
Yeah, then you can press OK. Press OK.
Yes.
Or enter key. Then you can drag the formula down here, or you can just press Ctrl D. So then, from your analysis, it shows you that the highest overtime earner is Lungu, whereas the minimum overtime earner is Kanyoze. But then you don't stop here. You have to do a bit of profile analysis. You have to actually do the trending. In the last 6 months, who has actually been getting on Lungu? You have to do the last 6 months to check how much overtime has been getting and the position. Because in this case, in the period under review, it shows you that Lungu was the highest overtime earner. So then now do trending. If you find that in month 1, Lungu was number 2. In month 3, in month 2, sorry, Lungu maybe was number 1. Number 2, maybe number 3, maybe number 1 again. Then number 1, since it is in the period under review. So in all these months, this has been his position. So the question is, and this is what you're trying to find out so that you come up with a very informed recommendation to management. You're doing your management accounts, Mrs. Lower. So the first thing that you ask yourself before you start doing these things, you should have questions in your mind. One of the questions is that is Lungu's skills or skill set, is it so rare that is the only person who is required to do whatever works that has to be done or that have to be done after normal working hours? That's the first thing. Secondly, in that department where Lungu is, does he work alone? That because this skill set is so rare that he's just alone in the department. If from your analysis you find that Lungu is actually alone in that department, maybe statistics or whatever, that raises another risky component of your business as Boma Limited. Then it means that in an event that Lungu dies, gets sick, you have a problem as an organization, isn't it, Ms. Lower? So you as an analyst, you are doing all these things. Finance and an analyst, you need financial analysts, you need to know that you are not only just interested in the numbers, you're interested in all these other nuances that govern your business. So if indeed you find that it's true, Lungu has a very rare skill and he's alone in the office, and this is why there's this justification where he's actually getting more overtime on average than any other employee in your organization, then that becomes a risk flag, which then now you have to recommend to management that Lungu must have an understudy, somebody to work under him so that he can rub off some of the rare skill sets that Lungu has. That's the first thing. Secondly, is to split the roles, his roles, so that you give them to somebody else. That is the only way you can manage the risk by diversifying, so that all those important roles, they do not sit under one person, who in this case is Lungu. Guys. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So this is why you are doing this analysis. So the first one is skewed. Secondly, what does it do from morning up to the time of knocking off? Maybe, if you find that in this department, Lungu is not alone, there are about 5 of them. Then that also again is a red flag. It triggers that red flag. That Lungu may have his own personal problems, which most of the time during the work days, during the normal working hours, Lungu is actually pushing fowls out there, as you call it in Zambia, looking for money somewhere. He's in town and all this. Then by just 30 minutes before knocking off, he reports for work and starts working. Then that again opens up a lot of weaknesses in your control system as an organization. Then it also reflects badly on Lungu's supervisor. I don't know if you're getting the story.
Yes, sir.
Because the question is, why does the supervisor let Lungu gallivant, move around, do the window shopping, look around for money from street Shylocks and all that for his own survival? Then he comes in the office to work after normal working hours so that he gets this extra overtime. But then you can also go deeper to understand what is motivating Lungu to be generating subsidiary incomes through overtimes at work. So one of them would be, maybe he's highly indebted. So this is at this point, Mrs. Lower, that then now you pull the payroll data and look at the indebtedness of all these people that you have listed in here. So you have a column of the indebted, the level of indebtedness, so that you do your analysis. And what I discovered from my analysis in looking at, in having this experience in analyzing data, I discovered that in most of these organizations, the top 10 overtime earners who are always earning overtime consistently, 80% of those are highly indebted. So if you check, you find that they have these big loans from the mainstream financial systems, such as banks, and from the microfinancing, and from the streets. Unfortunately, you will not see data from the streets, from the Shylocks, because once they exhaust from the mainstream banking sector, financial system, they go to the microfinancing, they still have to bridge that gap, financial gap, and they have to go in the streets to start borrowing money. They have to go to their fellow employees to borrow money. Then this is the result. But then what it reflects, basically, when you start seeing such things, then you know that you have weak control systems in your organization. And you find that down there under Kanyonze, maybe there are quite many in the department, or he's well-to-do, he always wants to do his work during normal working hours, and off he goes home because he's running his own businesses out there. He doesn't need to defraud the bomber or an organization to get an overtime. But it doesn't end there. I haven't forgotten your question, Lushomo, on average ifs. This is where now you do your average. Right. So here, I would also do an average for the north and an average for the south, so that we see which region has a big problem. And we'll then now sit down with that regional manager and say, Mana, you're not doing okay. And this is what you're going to do here. First, we'll use the average function, just equals average. You can open the function argument box like this and pick the average down there. Press OK. This is for the whole organization. But then you want to check, maybe the problem is actually sitting with north and south is okay. And maybe from your analysis, you've always found that south has always been okay in the last 6 months. Then it reflects well on the supervisors or the regional managers in these two respective regions. Then you can do a proper analysis. So then here now, this is where we're going to use our average if. So say equals average if tab equals average if tab equals average if, Control A, just open it like this. Here at this academy, you don't just learn Excel, you learn data analytics, you learn financial analysis, because these are tools that you need to have in your toolbox to become a very good analyst. Don't use your emotions in analyzing numbers. Let the numbers guide you. So you open your average if, like we had done. You know what needs to be done here. So the range is the regions. You pick the regions. Loshomo just pick the regions and log. Or we can, if you want, you can leave it as is. You don't need to log. Then go to the criteria. The criteria here is north. You can even type it, but you need to have it in the inverted commas if you do that. Then the average range. The criteria of picked is north. Loshomo, have you picked the criteria?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So then now you go to the average range. You cannot average text and never think about it. So the only option you have on these two lines, on these three columns, is column K. You want to average the overtime. You want average overtime. So press OK. You could even lock it if you want, just move it down there, but let's just leave it as is. Press OK. Then we do the same with the average for south. Do the same on south. I'll guide you. Or I'll follow you behind. So under this one, you say equals average if again. Control A, you open the function argument box. The range is obviously the region there. If you want, don't even lock it. Criteria is south. You pick in the south cell. Average range, you cannot average text, so it's overtime. Just do that. Loshomo, have you filled in the function argument box?
Yes, I've even found the average.
Okay, Mrs. Lower.
Not yet, but I'm following.
Following is dangerous. You should have done it. Following is always dangerous.
Yes, I'm following. There's somewhere I messed up, but I think
Okay.
I've been able to see where I went wrong.
Okay, I'll immediately post the video on our YouTube channel. I guess you have subscribed there and you clicked the notification button so that each time I put some new material, you are able to access or to see. So you should press
sir.
on the subscribe on the notification button. So I will press OK.
Yes.
So here now, Loshomo, what it shows you is that the average, it shows you that the average for the whole organization is 1,308. If you check, then you do your analysis to check on Longo, you'll find that Mr. Longo or Madam Longo was 63% above the company average. 63% above the company average. But then you also need to know, where is Longo coming from? From which region? I could still put a formula here to know the region where Mr. Longo is coming from. I could do that easily. I could just, if I wanted, I could use VLOOKUP. I'm not saying that you should do that. I just want to show you. So Longo comes from north, and maybe this is why this north average is up there, because of Longo. But suppose you say under Longo here, we say, suppose we did not have Longo there, what would be the average? So north is too high. I don't know if you're getting my analysis. Even without Longo, who was the highest, north is too high. There is now Shakafusa was coming. There's now Shakafusa was coming, and it's still coming from north. So what does it tell you? I'm trying to go back. Yeah. What does it tell you? It tells you that north may have a regional manager who is so relaxed. Maybe it's not tough. But again, just looking at this over time and judging based on these numbers may not be adequate, Mrs. Lower. You may also want to check on the revenue base. Is this over time value adding? Is it contributing to revenue enhancements? So if you find that under north, the revenues, let's say north and south, they are relatively the same, almost the same number of customers, but north is getting a higher revenues, getting higher revenues, then you know that you can justify. You should not vilify the regional manager under north on the simple fact that he's generating more overtime than the regional manager from south. Again, it might also mean that the regional manager from the northern region was predominantly low in terms of revenue base, and this is just part of the strategic intent by management to increase the revenues. Mahwa, you have heard, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Ms. Siloa,
Yes, sir.
how is the analysis on the average if, the practical part of using your average if as a function? You have seen what we have done. Let me hear your comments.
I think it's very, very helpful. One of the things I'm learning, it's like what I explained much earlier, the last time that we met. I deal with the data for the loans, so I'm able to use the average if the aspect that we've to really analyze. There's certain people who really have like all forms of loans sitting on their pay slips. So with this aspect, I'm able to just go beyond just what I'm seeing, the figures I'm seeing, to be able to analyze, and so that if there are other loan applications regarding the same people, I'm able to understand, check their pay slips and see what could be happening. Yes. So it's thank you.
Thank you so much. Lushomo, what have you gotten since we are checking, you are logging out or checking out?
Okay, I think I've learned a lot, not only average if, I've learned how to calculate the maximum. I actually didn't know that Excel can do that. I've learned how to recognize easily and play around with some of these new functions like index, match, and all. Help. I believe, but with more practice, I'll practice more until I get a hang of it.
Okay. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow evening. I wish we could do it in the morning, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I wish before you go to church we could do that, but let's meet in the evening. But the
Okay,
problem with the evening, I might be traveling back to Lusaka, so it's kind of gambling. Yeah. Let's see how it works out. Mrs. Slow, I don't know.
Okay.
Morning is from what time to what time, sir?
Almost the same time, maybe 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 may be too late for me because I prepare the children for worship.
6.
6 to 7 would be okay. I can attempt.
Okay.
I can.
But don't just attempt it. Let's see. Let's agree.
Yeah, 6 to 7. I can work at being there, sir.
Okay. Lucium, are you able to wake up at 6?
Sundays are really busy here.
Okay, okay, let's see in the evenings. Let's see in the evenings then. Okay. Bye bye.
All right,
Bye
sir.
bye. Bye
Thank you
bye.
very much.
Yeah,
Please
bye
work
bye.
well.
Yeah.